morning, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me. So I'm going to jump right in today. As you can tell by the thumbnail and the title, we're going to be talking about Ethan Crumbley, in this case, where it is right now. It's been a few days since I last made a video about this. I was waiting for not just Ethan's court appearance, which was yesterday, was also waiting for his parents' court appearance, which was this afternoon. And I really didn't have to wait because I don't know if you guys have watched either one of those, but Ethan's parents was a probable cause hearing, and it just kind of got shoved into February, I believe. So the only thing is that I think they're doing another hearing for a bond. I don't know if they want to ask to lower the bond. That's usually kind of how it goes in a criminal case. If the bond is set extremely high, they usually wait a little bit and see if anyone pays it, which mostly they don't. But they can continue to start to lower that bond then. So I'm assuming that the bond will be lowered at some point. I don't know how much. I doubt much. But that's probably what that's all about. Ethan's hearing, however, yesterday, while they don't have all the discovery yet in order to kind of move forward, I believe the prosecutor said she only has about a third of the discovery gone through, because they have a lot. So they also have a lot of witnesses to still question, but a lot of the victims' families, they're still there, like just, a lot of these funerals have just recently taken place, so it's not the time. It's definitely not the time right now to start questioning people right before the holidays, when a lot of them are just trying to grieve and kind of wrap their heads around what just happened to their family and their friends and their classmates. So, and I think a lot of the witnesses are having a really hard time with what happened to them. They're not really able to talk about it right now. They're really needing to get right with their mental health at this point before they're able to kind of relive those events. And I think we all have to understand that. So I think January 7th is Ethan's next court date, and I think they have pushed the Crumbley's hearings into February, unless I heard that wrong. But I think sometime before the 8th of January, they're going to do some type of bond reduction or something. So I said Ethan's did have some substance to it, and it was the court-appointed lawyer. And he has a guardian ad litem now because he doesn't have parents technically at this point. So he needs some type of parental support or guardian to help kind of preserve his rights and make sure that he is being taken care of as a child, because he's 15. He's a child. So what they wanted to bring up was that he's been having some difficulty in the adult jail, as you would assume he would. He is in isolation. However, he's in isolation in medical. And medical is just as it sounds. It's where the inmates are taken when they are sick. And, there's a lot of, people saying, because I guess where it's, the problem is he's not supposed to be able to hear the adult inmates. And he says that he can hear them through the walls. And I think a lot of people are saying, well, so what? He can hear them through the walls. Like, duh, he's in prison, you're going to hear people. But I guess that's against whatever titles and I don't know all that stuff, but it's against what is supposed to be going on. He's not supposed to be able to hear them. And while I think hearing them talk and stuff wouldn't really be an issue, I think it's the fact that he's hearing them down in medical that is the issue. Now, I'm just guessing here because I know what it sounds like in a jail's medical, and it can be quite terrifying. even as an adult, the things that you hear go on in there. There are a lot of people detoxing, and if you've never heard someone detox off of an injectable substance, it sounds like they are dying because they feel like they are dying, and it can be quite traumatizing. And now I know you're probably thinking, who gives a rat's ass? He deserves to be traumatized. He traumatized all these people, and you're very correct there, and I'm not going to argue that. But I think that it's more than just him hearing male voices. That's the problem. It's the fact that he's literally hearing people that could possibly be dying, or at least it's what it sounds like. And I think it's scaring him, and it should. It should scare him. And I'm glad that he's scared, because he scared the living shit out of all those people, and he actually took lives. And so him being scared, sorry, not sorry. And man, when I heard him say his name for the judge, his voice, how deep, oh my goodness. He definitely doesn't sound like a 15-year-old boy, and he definitely didn't make actions of a 15-year-old boy either. But I guess what I mainly wanted to say was they were wanting to say that he should be put back in Children's Village. Now, the initial reason that they didn't want him there was security reasons. People have escaped there in the past. People have escaped there even quite recently, or escaped from there. So I know that was an issue. Another issue I am finding was when I looked up Children's Village to kind of see what their protocols were and all that. It's very hard to find some of that information. Why, I don't know. Maybe it's just my computer. I don't know. But it would always say that that page isn't available. But I don't know. But what I did find while I was looking for that information was some more information about what's been going on in other Michigan schools ever since this has occurred. So, according to an article that I read, there's been several schools that are with children trying to copycat this. There were some elementary schools in there as well with children as young as 9 making these types of things. They had a naughty and a nice list, and next to every naughty was DEAD, and next to every nice was alive. So basically, you get the gist. They were making a list of who they possibly could be, taken out. And I'm glad that they're taking all of these things seriously, but where I'm going with this is that where they are putting these children is Children's Village. So I'm not so sure it would be the best idea to put a school shooter who has actually committed the crime in with a bunch of kids that are kind of in some sort of way idolizing him by trying to copycat him. And I just don't think that would be such a good idea. I can see that going very, very wrong. I can also see it going in a better way if he were to be like, don't do what I did. Like, I regret this tremendously, and I never meant for it to go this far. But clearly he did, because he premeditated the living shit out of it, and the school didn't pay any attention, his parents didn't pay any attention, and I think that is what he really wanted. I don't think he initially started making these plans to actually do them until that morning. I really think that he was seeing what went on in that meeting with the parents. Now, I know he was brought in there, but it was like his parents ignored everything. His parents ignored him, and they were very neglectful of him in so many ways. And I think more and more is going to come out. But I said in my last video with the neighbor how they would leave him alone, and that was at 8 and 9, and it's like they just didn't seem to give two flying fucks or a shit about anything that this kid did, how he was feeling, or anything. They blew all of it off. They didn't even take the opportunity that morning to say, you know what, we have to work, but you know what, Ethan's more important. He's clearly troubled. Like, I want to go home and I want to talk to him. Like, I want to see what's going on in that head, you know, which I talked about in my last video, so I won't go in on this one. But I wanted to just say a few things that we can't ignore, okay? We all want justice. We all want him to be punished for his crimes. He deserves to be punished for his crimes. But we can't ignore certain things. And I think I just want to create a little bit of awareness here when I say that. So we can't ignore the fact that his parents neglected him. His parents bought him the weapon. His parents didn't secure that weapon. Okay? His parents are somewhat responsible. They were neglectful of him. There were so many red flags with this kid. The parents chose not to see it. They chose not to care. And even when it was brought to their attention, they chose to look the other way. You know, he became a thorn in their side. You know, like, look, now you're getting caught with shit. You know, you need to not get caught. And now we're being called in. I'm supposed to be at work, you know. You're taking me from my work now. And God forbid you take me from work for the rest of the day. So you need to get your ass back to class, school. You need to keep him because we have our own life here. And we're working. We're trying to make money. You deal with him. I mean, what that possibly has done to his self-esteem, we may never know. I mean, but I think we can see the action result of things. Another thing is, he is only 15 years old. He hasn't ever been in trouble before. He hasn't ever had any issues with other kids before. He hasn't ever had any disciplinary issues at the school before. He's a 15-year-old boy. And he cried out for help. Those drawings, those notes, those social media posts, those were all cries for help. He didn't do it secretly. He did it right in everyone's face. And there were some things that were going on at the school. I don't know if they found out that whether it was him that did them or someone else, but there was like a deer head that was like severed and thrown into the parking lot. There was like urine and like a note, and I don't know. Some people said that he was on a roof at one point. He was, if anyone could be crying for help, it was Ethan Crumbley. A lot of school shootings like this that have happened in the past have been very by surprise. The kids were very secretive about it, and they just kind of showed up one day and nobody knew where it came from. And then it came out later, well, they were being bullied. Oh, they had a notebook that they were writing in. Oh, they had this and this and this and this and this, but they were keeping it secret. This kid was not keeping any of his thoughts as secret. And the school failed him. Because if his parents weren't going to give a damn, he was sure as shit doing enough at school that they should have done something. They should have called the cops. They never even brought it to the principal or the vice principal even. They kept it at a counselor level. We also have to not ignore the fact that he doesn't have parents anymore. His parents went and hired themselves some high-profile attorneys while he's sitting there with a public defender. Not that he had parents to begin with. I mean, they couldn't be bothered with him. And now they're spending big bucks on their lawyer, and they got him, he's over there with a court-appointed lawyer. Another thing we can't ignore, he's a human being. He is a human being. And while he showed complete disregard for other human beings, which I cannot ignore, none of us can ignore. He himself is still a human being, and he's clearly mentally ill. He's had no guidance. He has no one. Everyone that is there for him now is court appointed. His own family has turned their back on him. I am torn. I really am. I'm very torn with how to feel about this case, because my mama bear in me wants to help this kid. But then the mama bear in me wants to make him pay for what he did to other people's children. But it's like, there's a difference between punishment and abuse. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out at this point. Is him staying in an adult jail the proper punishment for him? Or does it come down to abuse? Because as parents, we want to teach our children right from wrong. And when they do something wrong, they need to be punished, right? But there's a difference between punishing our children and abusing them to teach them a lesson. And we all know the difference, right? Hopefully. Some people don't, but we all know the difference between giving our child a proper punishment or abusing our child. Because obviously, punish them according to their age, and you want to punish them according to their crime. And you definitely don't want to abuse them. So the fact that he is a 15-year-old boy is where I'm having a hard time with this. Where should he be? How should he be punished? And I think they are too. Because it's like, he's being charged as an adult. He's going to be tried as an adult. So he's in an adult prison. But he's still a 15-year-old boy. A 15-year-old boy who we don't know where he is mentally, who's been neglected, whose parents have turned their back on him and hired themselves some fancy-ass lawyers. They've just washed their hands of him. I don't know. I don't know where the punishment becomes abuse here. You got a kid sitting in medical with nobody to talk to, not even his own family. He's got to feel it. Now, I guess the main question would be, does he have remorse? Is this someone who has a conscience? Is this someone who is not a sociopath, and he actually feels remorse for this? And I don't see it. And that's another thing. If he's not feeling the punishment, then you're not going to lessen that punishment, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking in circles now at this point. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this? Do you think that, I've always been a believer of the punishment should fit the crime. And almost to a point in the other direction, where when you have people that are doing things to children that are adults, their punishment should fit that crime. As in, let's flip the script real quick, if you know what I mean. That's what I believe their punishment should be. But we all have rights. We are all human beings. And if he is able to feel remorse, I think that's a big one. Because if not, then I wash my hands of it too. But I guess all we can do is wait at this point. So again, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. I'm going to come to you with some more content in a minute, because I got 2 other ones I want to do, just quickies. So talk to you guys soon.